a quick morning walk in suburbia. No time to hit the trails. I watched the Jane Goodall video. If you haven't seen it, I really encourage you to watch it. The full one is on Netflix. Might be somewhere else, but that's the only one I know where the full version is. And she said something that was really striking to me. I mean, the whole thing just was so affirming of how I feel about life and why we live life. And she talked with great patience and compassion about what we could call entitlement, which is that we are now, our children and our generations have been raised to expect running water and heat and automobiles and electricity, and that perhaps we have gotten a little bit too self-oriented. And I've talked about this before with people who say that they are empaths, and my response is that unless you get strong, an empath can become very narcissistic, because what happens is the agenda of the super sensitive person, stay here, stay. All right, come. Good dogs. The agenda of the super sensitive person is, I am sensitive and everybody around me must pay attention to that and make that a priority. Whereas if you are a super sensitive person and you get strong, you take care of yourself and you don't have to announce that you're an empath. Just like people who announce they're Christians, immediately all the hair in my body stands up. It's like, if you have to tell me that and I can't discern from your actions and behaviors what a good person you are, I'm wary. So we know that change occurs with pendulum swings, and I do believe that we have entered the era of self-esteem, started with Virginia Satir back in the 70s, and self-care and self-awareness, that we have gotten perhaps a little bit too far in that pendulum swing, where everything now is about the self. Everything is about my mood, my weighted blanket, my environment, etc. And by the way, I'm all for self-care. I had to learn a great deal about that for myself. But balance, to me, is always the big key. Hoshi, come on, come. She's trying to visit her friend. Come. Good dogs. Good. So in 12-step programs, and every recovery program I know about, which is not everything in the world, service is a giant part of recovery. And it typically starts with AA, because alcoholics, addicts are notoriously selfish, self-serving. It is part of the desperation of addiction. And codependents are addicts also. They are addicted to people-pleasing. So service with codependence is a little trickier, because you don't want to run around doing, here comes the garbage truck. You don't want to run around being a people pleaser and doing too much service at the cost of the self, which is something I used to do a lot of. I still mess up in that direction. Wait until we get past this truck here. So, for myself, for example, I have channeled a lot of my deep need for taking care of and saving things to animals and earth, and trying to have better boundaries around people. So when Jane Goodall talked about that, I just thought, yeah, we are at a time where that pendulum swing of me, my environment, my food, my energy, issues, etc., have to be balanced with the darkness, as she calls it, that is on this planet right now, with the far swing over to looking a lot more like pro-war and separatism, instead of how do we get along And how do we take care of this absolutely gorgeous planet that has gone extinct 5 times, I believe, according to science, research, not New Age, not the Bible, but actual research based on looking at the Earth's crust and understanding the history of evolution. Where's Hoshi? Oh, there she is. So I just wanted to spend a little moment this morning reminding everybody, as Jane Goodall has done, that, as she calls it, big mission, small actions. And I know a lot of the New Age people I've met who come to me, they want to know their purpose and their mission, and I say, what if you're called to be a janitor? And everybody you meet, you touch their lives in some way. Well, I never see that person again. Because what they want to hear is that I knew them in Egypt, or they're from Atlantis, and they're going to be, the purple flame and save souls and get recognized for it, get paid for it, get acknowledged and loved for it, have an identity around it, etc. But it really is about taking care of your own energy. Can you look at every day of your life and find the moments you're proud of, where you admire your choices and yourself? Can you look at your days and find the places where you wish you had done better, and spend a moment reflecting on that, so next time you can do better? In 12-step language, they call that continue to take daily inventory and make amends as needed. Not in a beat yourself up sort of way, not in a self-critical way, but in the way of big mission, small actions. Imagine if each person held themselves accountable for being kind, for having a small carbon footprint, for making sure that others around them were making a living, that people were treated with kindness and respect, that we give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove themselves that perhaps they are being mean rather than they didn't mean to be that way. Very idealistic, I understand. But not so much idealistic either, I think. Anyway, if you have a chance to see Jane Goodall's final words, it was an interview she did that was agreed that would not be released till after her death. And there are no cameras, they're all remotely hidden, so it's just her and her interviewer. And then he leaves and she talks to the camera. Oh my goodness, if only there were more people like her on the planet. All right, that's it for now. Off to a big day. Thanks for putting up with the garbage truck, and hope to meet some of you. For real.